Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for a film review of 2022's The Batman. The Batman is a highly anticipated movie that I know a lot of us, comic book fans, especially like diehard DC fans, diehard Batman fans, have been waiting for maybe 3 years, something like that, since it was announced. And initially, the Batman began development as a standalone adventure for Ben Affleck's iteration of Batman from the DCEU before ultimately evolving into what it is today, which is kind of this just noir thriller, you know what I'm saying? Like really genuinely terrifying Batman film. And yeah, it is directed by Matt Reeves, who co-wrote the screenplay with Peter Craig. I believe at one point Madison Tomlin had I don't know if I said that name right, but I believe at one point was involved with the script, and I believe those contributions or those ideas, I'm not sure if they're still in the film, and they're probably not, seeing as they wasn't credited. But those eventual concepts went into a graphic novel called Batman the Imposter, which I will be getting to shortly. You know what I'm saying? Gotta deal with all the Batman mania going on this weekend. Everybody, you know, is lining up to see this movie, and I feel like this is disrespectful even calling it a movie. You know what I'm saying? It's very much a film. It is a grim, dark superhero mystery thriller, and man, I gotta hand it to Matt Reeves. He really did his shit with this one. It is amazing. It is amazing, and I know a lot of people were divided on Robert Pattinson. A lot of people were angry about Jim Gordon. People wasn't expecting, Colin Farrell as the Penguin. There were so many things about this film that seemed, you know what I'm saying? They just seemed really off the wall and really crazy. But I feel like Matt Reeves had a team of people willing to believe in what he was doing and support what he was doing. And in turn, it made for a better film that drew from, great Batman stories like Year One, The Long Halloween, even one I haven't read before but I've heard of, Batman Ego. There was like, especially like in terms of the story, I saw elements of the New 52 Batman, not like super heavy, but I saw elements of the New 52 Batman, and I saw elements of the Telltale Batman series. Nothing too drastic, nothing too heavy or anything like that, but it's certainly made for an absolutely stellar film. Like, a lot of people didn't want to give this movie a chance right out the gate. They had so many gripes. It was too dark, it was too long. They didn't trust Pattinson's Batman, and I think everybody really delivered, man. I'm talking about, I want to thank everybody involved, man. The cast and the crew, like the marketing team, and like, this movie's been everywhere, and it is a genuinely amazing film. And I really want to get into the things that I thought were amazing about this film. And right out the gate, I'm gonna go ahead and say, and this is my own opinion, you know what I'm saying? Like, this review is just my opinion, you know, and y'all tuning into it, so hopefully it don't piss y'all off or nothing like that. But I thoroughly enjoyed this Batman film because it's the kind of Batman film I've always wanted since I was a kid, you know? And for me, it most definitely topped Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Most definitely. Because in my head, I've always had an idea of there could be a Batman film where he was Batman 90% of the film. And they did that. You know what I'm saying? Even the scenes with Bruce Wayne, while they were, while they were very minute and minuscule, they were still effective. You know, you saw how fucking uncomfortable, Robert Pattinson was with being Bruce. You know what I'm saying? Or not Robert Pattinson. You saw how uncomfortable Bruce was with being himself. And I think that lent itself to the kind of Batman he was. You know, he was hard pressed to, you know what I'm saying? I won't necessarily say clean up Gotham, but, because like he says in, I guess what you could call the prologue of the film, it's a big city, you can't be everywhere. So, but getting into what is amazing about this film, I want to talk about the pros. Now, chief among them is the direction of Matt Reeves. Now, Matt Reeves is someone, I believe Matt Reeves directed Cloverfield. He directed Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes, two amazing films. I never thought I would enjoy a movie about apes taking over the fucking world, but Matt Reeves made me, think twice, because Planet of the Apes, to me, always been on some racist shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's what I've taken from it as a young black man, I could be wrong, but that's what I always took from it, you know what I'm saying? Like, but he made those films, these kind of, grounded, realistic, dark adventure movies, with a lot of character drama and stuff like that. Between apes, mind you. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's, and you have to trust his direction, because the nigga made y'all care about apes, bro. Like, for real. But the cinematography of this film is, it's magnificent. It's dark. It's I'm trying to find the correct words. You know what I'm saying? Because I guess taking a cue from film noir, or neo-noir, however you want to call it. It's really seeming like Seven. Now, Seven was, I guess you could say, a thriller movie. Came out in 1995, and it was about a serial killer using the 7 deadly sins as his modus operandi. And critically acclaimed movie. I love it. Used to watch it with my grandmother all the time. And I like how Matt Reeves kind of took, everything great that David Fincher put into that film as far as direction. He took that and applied it to Batman in a way that I didn't think you could. See, now, when we talk about dark Batman films, like, now, Chris Nolan Batman films aren't dark. They're not. They're realistic. That's the, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Chris Nolan's Batman films are realistic. They're not dark. This is a dark Batman, and I'll explain why. This film is dark not because its shots are dimly lit, you know what I'm saying, and not even because of, you know, the level of violence this film has. And it, I mean, like, I'm in the theater, my brother turned to me and was like, yo, nigga, is this rated R, you know? But no, this Batman film is dark because its treatment of Bruce Wayne and Batman. Now, Bruce is this tortured kind of, he lives for being Batman, you know? Bruce Wayne, I would go as far as to say, you know, usually in Batman stories, Bruce Wayne is the mask, you know, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. That ain't even the case here. He on some early 2000s grunge, black eyeliner. Like, I really dug this iteration of Bruce. It was different, you know. It's something I could relate to. You know, I grew up in the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? I was a youngin' back then. You know, I was listening to Live, A Perfect Circle, Nirvana. You know what I'm saying? So, like, seeing this kind of Bruce Wayne really resonated with me. Is what I'm gonna say. Especially as somebody who's like dealt with depression and, you know, anger issues and things like that. You know, it's crazy to be able to relate to Bruce Wayne just on a human level. You know what I'm saying? Beyond race, beyond all that other bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Beyond money, being able to relate to him just on a human level. That's why I enjoyed this Batman film. So Matt Reeves' direction can be trusted. It can be trusted. Now, I want to talk about the cast. The cast, simply amazing. Simply amazing. Robert Pattinson as Batman. I've always had faith in that casting because I know Robert Pattinson as a dope actor. You know, even beyond Twilight, even beyond Harry Potter. You know, I've delved into his other work. I've seen him in Good Time. I can't recall the name of the movie where he was an astronaut in space with the baby. I'm telling you, his acting chops is there. He's really that dude. Just his portrayal of Batman as this kind of stoic, mysterious character. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the physical presence of him as Batman is amazing. You know, he don't have the size of the Ben Affleck Batman, and, you know, he doesn't have the fucking cigarette gravelly voice of Christian Bale's Batman. You know, he's even more, I would argue he's even more physical than Christian Bale's Batman, but I'm gonna get into that. Yeah, Robert Pattinson as Batman, 10 out of 10, definitely recommend. Jeez, he was amazing. Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, I really dug her as Selena Kyle. I feel like she gratefully embodied the character. One amazing thing I want to point out, Matt Reeves, I seen that he snuck her year one outfit into the movie. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta pay attention. You know, comic book fans, you'll know it when it pop up on screen. But I like the way he put it in there because it's unexpected. You know, you're not really paying attention to that. But yeah. Zoe Kravitz is Selena Kyle. She's this wow, she's very capable. You know, she's not a damsel, but she's not so far along to the point where she is. Because a lot of characters, a lot of positive female characters are quote unquote trying to, you know, in films like this or stuff like that, they like to kind of demean or, you know, just outright, what is the word I'm looking for? I just feel like sometimes in writing these female characters, they kind of make them, they have to like one up the male characters, and in doing so, they don't just do it subtly. They like low key like humiliate them, this and that, and or they just outright saving their ass type shit. Which is it's not a bad thing, but to me, it's like the root of feminism is equality. That's all I'm gonna say there. I ain't gonna get too political. The root of feminism is equality. Bam. And I feel like the Catwoman character, Selena Kyle character, was handled very well in this film, and it was refreshing to see a different iteration of her, and she was portrayed as bisexual, which is actually surprising to me because the only character that I've seen in big DC movies, now I could be wrong about this, that I know for a fact is bisexual was Harley Quinn, but I haven't really seen that portrayed on screen either. I mean, if it was, I'm not paying attention. And I'm talking about theatrical films. I'm not talking about the cartoon. But yeah, they handled that very well. And wow, just another thing, just how her fighting style and how physical she was, and the gravitas she brought to that performance. And she's so goddamn gorgeous. Just perfect Selena Kyle. Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, Lieutenant Jim Gordon, not Commissioner, Lieutenant Jim Gordon. I love he put his own spin on Gordon as a character. It was dope. And this is coming from somebody who's a big Jeffrey Wright fan. I love Jeffrey Wright. Man, loved him since I first seen him. First movie I seen him in was Shaft. And he was Peoples Hernandez. That man is an amazing actor. Man, like he does not. I feel like he does not get enough credit. He is a literal chameleon. He can play any role you give him. And I really enjoyed him as Jim Gordon. The relationship he had with Batman, like he trusted Batman more than a partner. Like you could tell he cared about him as a friend, and not to give too much of the movie away, but every time, Batman is like in a jam or something, like he kind of like get close to him and he like, we gotta get you out of here, man. Like I really appreciated how they handled Batman and Gordon's relationship. Even though Batman's still kind of he was still a little standoffish, it lent itself pretty well. And let's see, the last Gordon I remember was Gary Oldman. I don't really count J.K. Simmons, so don't hold me, but I don't really. He always gonna be J. Jonah Jameson to me. So anyway, yeah, he definitely. I have to see more of his Gordon, but it's definitely right there. He neck and neck with Oldman for me. Andy Serkis is Alfred. This movie. Oh, okay. I'm gonna get into that. There was so much about Alfred that I loved, and there was so much mystery to Alfred. Like I wanted to know why his face was so scarred, why he was limping. Man, Andy Serkis. He was an unexpected choice for Alfred for me. I don't know who I would have cast, but definitely unexpected. But I did enjoy his portrayal of Alfred. His just the amount of love he had for Bruce. You could, every time he spoke to him, those scenes really showed me that, like, they all they got. Really. They only have each other. And he's so like Bruce, he blames himself for what happened to Thomas and Martha. So much to the point where he feels like And I'm sure this is what Matt Reeves is going for, but he like damn near the Batman is my fault, you know. But him and Bruce, they share that pain together, and their scenes really explored that, you know. Um, Colin Farrell as the Penguin, man, I fucking loved the Penguin. He was easily, man, standout performance by Colin Farrell. Um, it's a different version of the Penguin than I would have thought. You know, I'm used to like, see, as a teenager, I was real big on the Arkham games, so I got used to the. I don't want to say Cockney. I don't know if that's offensive, but I basically got used to the British version of the Penguin. You know, with the fucking what was that? A champagne bottle stuck in his eye. But I got used to that version. So when I heard Colin Farrell was gonna be the Penguin, I'm like, oh shit, they doing that version. Or I thought they were doing the comic book. What was that guy's name? King Penguin King. I can't really remember right now, off the top of my head. But you guys know what I'm talking about. He was like one of the guys who took over the mantle of the Penguin, a real skinny kind of guy, something like that. Or even the Penguin version from the Telltale series. But man, Colin Farrell, he was on a whole other level as the Penguin. His scenes were a delight. You know, just his banter with Batman, even every scene he shared with Bruce Wayne, like he treated Bruce so cool. You know what I'm saying? He like one of them old heads you used to see on the block that you know they doing bad shit, but they just cool as hell with you. You know, just off the muscle, just and he was a criminal, but I feel like he was a good dude at the end of the day. Loyal, I tell you that. And man, when he has one of my favorite scenes in the movie where he upped the blick. I ain't gonna tell you on who, but he don't even care, bro. He like, man, there's cops around here. I don't give a fuck. But man, really enjoyed Colin Farrell as the Penguin. He was amazing. He need an Oscar for that shit. John Turturro, Carmine Falcone. I don't know. I don't know. Definitely sinister. Definitely a version of the Roman that was just downright nasty. I'm gonna get back to you on that one. And last but not least, the man of the hour, Paul Dano as the Riddler. This version of the Riddler was crazy than a bitch. I'm talking about, man. He was, he was, he was Paul Dano, and he definitely acted his ass off. Definitely, yes, definitely. Getting into the action sequences and the more uh I guess you could say like the set pieces, showcasing Batman's arsenal. I guess if you could call it an arsenal. He has a lot of cool tools and gadgets, and everything is kind of makeshift. You know, it's really definitely a year two Batman. Everything is kind of, in its prototype phase, and it's dope. It's dope, and I loved the the capabilities of this Batman, like the action sequences and specifically the fight scenes. Now the chase scene, the Penguin chase scene, one of the dopest sequences in the movie. Um, One of the dopest sequences in the movie. But definitely the fight scenes. I love how brutal but swift this Batman is. And man, he's definitely, it's really more speed and strength. And I know people still foaming at the mouth about, the Batman vs Superman warehouse scene, but just because of the way it's shot, it is definitely a dope Batman fight scene. But this film has a lot of it has a lot of Batman fight scenes that I think are superior to that, especially in the sense of taking in who Batman is as a character, and this Batman is not yet at the point that Batman was at. That Batman had an arc where he was willing to kill, he was willing to maim, and do brutalistic things that weren't core Batman. Batman breaking bones, but he not branding niggas, you know. But and there was one scene in particular, not to spoil too much, just want to say something about it, where Bruce kind of, I guess you could say, sneaks into the Iceberg Lounge, and this guy comes into like a little room, and like Bruce just makes him up, just bing bing, you know. How quick he moves to put this guy down, like definitely the combat scenes, some of the strongest I've seen, and they definitely a cut above anything in the Dark Knight trilogy. At me if you want to. I'm telling you, Matt Reeves does Batman. He knows Batman. And yeah, another thing, the tone of this film is very grimdark. But I think that it lends itself to showing that Batman works better alone, and that's just part of his character. I'm even one of those people. I'm not really a fan of the Bat family, and I'm a big Batman fan, but I'm not a fan of the Robins, of Nightwing, of Batgirl, of Batwoman. That's just me. That's my preference. I prefer the kind of stoic, waging a one-man war type Batman. And I think that this film definitely depicted that, in a sense. And I say in a sense because, he still has Gordon, and he still has Selena, and, Alfred as support. But, that's one of the things that I guess makes Batman Batman. Sometimes he is so stubborn. He thinks he's going it alone, but he really isn't. But the concept of the Bat family always, I don't know, the Batman putting a fucking 13-year-old in some tights, making him fight grown ass convicts. Nah, that ain't it. But yeah, the tone of this film definitely set itself apart from previous Batman films by just being this really neo-noir, like mystery thriller, to the point where Batman was this detective. He was really a detective investigating this this widening gyre, this mystery, you know. And you had the femme fatale, Selena Kyle. You had the enigmatic serial killer who was always one step ahead, Riddler. And it was just secrets looming. And he had to solve that mystery, and in the end it worked out. And the design and visual style of this film. Now, a good majority of the film takes place at night, and I think that also makes it more of a Batman film. And just because Batman generally operates at night, and there's this interesting arc throughout the film about Bruce. He even says it in the prologue that his nights bleed together, and he has to sometimes force himself to remember, to distinguish each one, and just the design of Gotham, the shots that they use to illustrate the city as this gritty place that is, and you just know, people are one bad day away from saying fuck it, like I need this cash, you know, and they introduced a lot of things into this movie that you wouldn't see in a typical superhero movie, They had drug deals, they had you know what I'm saying, very gory murder scenes, you know? And yeah, and I would go as far as to say Matt Reeves Matt Reeves made a Batman movie about Batman. You know? He really did. He made a Batman movie about Batman versus what we've come to expect with the Dark Knight trilogy. Those are Christopher Nolan movies about Batman. But I think Matt Reeves really took what some of us love about Batman as a character and put that into a film. A film that, a film that we can all appreciate. Now, conversely, these are the cons. These are the things that I thought were wrong with this film. Because in my opinion, everything was perfect. I love the story. I love the tone. I love the action sequences. I love the cast, the marketing. Everything was great except for these things. Now, chief among them, I wish the movie had more Alfred. Andy Serkis, I really liked him as Alfred. I really liked the relationship he had with Bruce. I mean, the only smile in the film from Bruce is because of Alfred. I love that. And I wish this movie had more Alfred. Second thing, there is one scene that I feel like Matt Reeves could have left on the cutting room floor. And as this is a spoiler-free review, I'm sure everyone will run across that film. It just seems so fucking left field, and I feel like Warner Bros. Execs, if they, had to shoehorn something in there, if they had to pester Matt Reeves about one thing, I feel like it was this. They could have left that out. And a lot of people, the internet was already buzzing about what it could be before the movie even came out, and that's one of the things I hate about the internet. Sometimes you ruin a good thing. Like, just, you don't have to know what secret cameos is in the movie, blah, 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 blah. Just enjoy it, It's more of a surprise if you don't know what's coming. But lastly, my last con, the last thing that I didn't like about the film, absolutely hated this, was the title card. Now me, I'm one of those people who loves to watch the credits of a movie and things like that. Hated the title card. It seemed so abrupt, so out of place, and they didn't even fucking use the logo from the posters in the trailers and things. That shit pissed me off. Matt Reeves, I want to pop your fucking hand for that. But when I look at my list of pros about this film versus the cons, I realize why this is a great film. A great Batman film. And for that, I once again like to thank the cast and the crew and everybody that made this happen. For Matt Reeves, it's been a 5-year journey. For us, we probably only had to wait 2 or 3. But the Batman is definitely one of the greatest comic book movies I've ever seen. And for my final verdict on this film, I have to give it a 9 out of 10. Now I urge you to form your own opinion. Go see this film. And, if you love Batman as a character, go to support the character. And hopefully, we can have more of these dream scenarios of, villains that are underused, underappreciated, and put into these sequels. And Matt Reeves can give us more of these amazing stories. I'm gonna throw my bid in for Hugo Strange. I'm gonna throw my bid in for Anarchy. But Batman was a great film. The score by Michael Giacchino was amazing. The cinematography was amazing. The Batman is an exceptional film. And if you have time this weekend, you should experience it. As for this review, that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to this comic book nerd talk about this movie. I hope everything is going well for you. Stay safe out there. Stay dangerous. And God bless. See. Wristwatch cause I'm big on time. If a nigga talk slick, I'ma put him in line. Been thinking I'm tough, can't play with my life.